What it do? YouTube. Just getting my little script together right here. And as you can see from the title of the video, I don't know why my shirt is blending in with my green screen because it's not even a green shirt. I don't know if y'all got some tips on how to make this. It's a light blue shirt, but I got a green screen and it's still kind of I couldn't figure it out. And I just wanted to get this video out because I've been itching the last week to get a new video out. Running around from the holidays. Hope y'all had a good time with fam and all that. Um, so yeah, I've been itching probably since I've been traveling since like the 23rd or so. Just got back today to my crib, and been kind of off and on working on this video, just taking notes and stuff. But it's a great topic, and I think that me and Curtis, as you can see right here, we are on the same kind of thought process and trend and pattern recognition the last year or so. Now I don't know if he's taking it the route that I am taking it, but I feel like if we had a conversation, I feel like we'll see eye to eye with why I think the way I do about this topic. So before I get into all that, I want to give a little like background of why I think that you know like real rap is back. You know what I'm saying? Real rap is back, and it's back because of two things, in my opinion. Um, it was just going to be a natural, swing of trends anyway. If you just look at hip hop history, there's always been, trends of, more mainstream commercial stuff. And then whatever region had the crown, that was the one that, had the most airplay or airwaves, owned the airwaves, or however you say it, right? Had all the radio play. And then it would after a while it would swing back to more like a conscious, maybe a little street elements into it and all that. And then whatever this region just had the crown at the moment. The last 10 years or so, the South has had the crown. Whether you liked it or not, it's the truth. Um, and it had some genuine, people that was a part of that run. But as we know, and as we now for sure have real evidence from, the Kendrick and Drake, beef. I know it sounds like I'm just like a clickbaiting with the Kendrick and Drake thing, but it's having like real effects on the consumption of hip hop now because, like I said, with the trends, the natural trends, Kendrick has now kind of uh fast forwarded a little bit too fast as far as being he was ahead of the curve, but it's now catching up to where more of the quote unquote um real hip hop is coming into play. But I'm taking it to another extent and saying that I think that for now, for the next year in 2026, no region is going to have the crown. It's going to be just pure artistry. That's who's going to rise to the top. So, and that doesn't mean that trap artists or club music will never be in the race as well, but only the genuine ones, the genuine artists that really come from that that lifestyle and make good music about that lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? Because to me, in my book, Jeezy and Future are elite artists at their lane of music. You know what I'm saying? They're still elite artists in that lane of music. And we need that. We need club music. We need dance music. We need the lyrical. We need the contra. We need all of it, right? But then once you take it to like another level of who has the best pen within those lanes, that's when you can start to compare trap artists to this and how their pen works. You know what I'm saying? Um, But yeah, so Curtis King says, you can see right here, indie rap will be louder than it's ever been next year. Save this tweet. And I was going to save it anyway, just because I believe that too. I believe that indie rap will be back, and it will be because it and it this is because, as you saw in the Kendrick Drake beef, and I don't want to talk about it too much, but it is the foundation of why this statement is true. Because you had Kendrick on one hand actually coming into the rap, battle with penmanship, which is before last year, that was quote unquote the underground. If you were a true, uh, you know, if you had a true pen, you know what I'm saying, and you actually like wrote and you wanted to be an MC, you're going to be underground. There's just no doubt about it because the South, trap club music, what I'm saying, that what ruled the airwaves, and a mix of drill rap too, right? That ruled the airwaves. But since that, Drake tried to come in with the mainstream type sound to the rap battle, it was showing, Kendrick was showing people and giving other artists the confidence and giving fans, pretty much like saying that you can be lyrical, have a message, and be cool, right? And also another thing that made it, just a wonderful kind of moment in hip hop history is that afterwards, when he dropped GNX, he kept his regional sound. And I don't know if y'all ever listen to Kendrick as much as I, do, but he's never had like a super regional sound. Like he couldn't turn Kendrick on and be like, oh, he's from LA. But the GNX album is all just regional hits. So he's pretty much like set the tone for what the mainstream is gonna trend is gonna be for a little while. One, you really gotta know how to rap. Two, you better sound like where you from. Or if you don't, you better be authentic in that sound, right? So if you from New York, I want to hear that New York sound. People are going to want to hear that New York sound because Kendrick proved that you can win and be authentic and you can win with the pen. You know what I'm saying? And that brings me to that next point of like proving why I think that designer designer I said that designer um he's even kind of gone back to his regional sound, right? So crazy, not gonna take that back. So designer was when he first popped out, right? He was just hopping on the wave, the trap, the club, the antics. You know what I'm saying? That was the trend at the time. Now Kendrick has completely reset the game. Like you pretty much look like just like how like maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and you was coming out and like they call it the rapidy rap. You looked at like a clown. Now if you come out with like the street antics and people don't really like feel that vibe from you, you gonna be looked at as a clown. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna be looked at as the clown. So this is designer. Robert checks on the daily. Sipping liquor with my baby, got me twisted, I'm wavy. On the internet, I got a service shopping so crazy. Got that money time up on my wrist, I caught me an AP. And them niggas talking crazy, not gonna phase me. I'm in torn around the world, this hip hop raised me. Got that money, living life, that's chicken and gravy. Had to do it big cuz, a real one maybe. Pops show me how to do it, get this money right. Get that money. You know what I'm saying? And it sounds good, right? It sounds more authentic because this, I promise you, I don't know what part of New York you from, but if you just around your uncles or whatever, I could assume if you from Brooklyn, the Bronx, you know about traditional New York hip hop. That's what's around you the most, right? So, like I said, this is even though I know it happened, it seemed like a long time ago, the Kendrick and Drake thing, but I'm seeing the effects of it. Kendrick is proving that you can be yourself and hit the charts or be, successful. Especially you can do it with keeping your regional sound, what you grew up listening to, right? And because it's really like honestly, and I'm gonna go ahead and just say it. You can hate me for it, I don't care. But to be quote unquote mainstream means that white people like your music. And true hip hop at its purest form, you shouldn't be making it solely for that purpose, right? You shouldn't be making it to be mainstream. It's just it you just be yourself, especially coming from a certain region. You kind of start off in that foundation, and then if you naturally veer off into other styles, you do that later on. But last few years it's been just a lot of fake in and acting, and that's what the Drake debacle really kind of exposed him, because he was just chasing numbers, and like a lot of guys just chase numbers or whatever, right? Oh, yeah, I already had the video saved and I didn't realize it. But and then with the YSL stuff, the Young Thug and the Gunna situation is kind of brought even more light to a lot of these guys really aren't all the way the image that they portray out to the world. Um, and it's a good thing, bad thing for it to be exposed in the way it did, but at the same time, now he's gonna see who his real fans are. Gunna's gonna see who his real fans are, and he's still got fans. It's just gonna be more regional support, right? It's gonna be more regional because we understand that sound, right? I won't say I'm the biggest Gunna fan, but I ain't mad when it come on when you out and about, because I get the sound. I like the fly stuff. He talk about. Same with Thug. He got some songs in my playlist because it's the sound of the South. That's where I'm from, right? I get it. All the New York old heads talking about, oh, they mumble rappers and all that. You just don't get it. You just don't understand. This is just how we talk, and we kind of sometimes I gotta slow down because we just talk fast like that at times. Um, so it's going back to that regional sound. So he says in this clip right here, Young Thug says rap is in a weird place right now after the Kendrick Lamar Drake beef. Everybody in the world is leveling up except hip hop, and I got some pushback on that, but I'm gonna just play the whole clip.
I feel like I always wanted to do this type of music, and then I feel like rap is in like a weird like space right now, because it just seems like everybody beefing, and it's just like two of some of the biggest, two of the biggest artists in the world, like Clash, and a lot of like the fucking ripple effect that came behind. Weird. I feel like it's time. I feel like we gotta like take it to the next level. We gotta level up. Like AI, it's just so much. Everything in the world leveling up except hip hop. Like niggas getting like worse. Like we getting worse than when we first came. Like I think we like reach, so we just like comfortability. Even when we feel like we like hustling hard as we can, we still like it's still cap. We so comfortable. I feel like we need this type of shit. I would be so happy if hip hop turned into pop. Like, nobody on this earth could fuck with me when it comes to that type of shit. I would be happy. But I also love hip hop because I know a lot of hip hop artists can't do that.
Well, you can rap your ass off. We always do that. But hip hop also always looks to you to push boundaries. Every project's something different.
And see, that's what the problem I got. He said he hopes hip hop can turn pop. That was the problem before. It was never supposed to be pop. Hip hop was like rebel music. You know what I'm saying? This is not, like I said, if you're mainstream, that means white people like your music. They're comfortable listening to your music. You're not supposed to be 100% comfortable, like far as the masses of white people, right? Comfortable listening to the music, because you're supposed to be, bringing awareness. That's what true hip hop is to a certain extent. And and you might say, oh no, but he a trap rapper, he a street rapper. They don't even be doing that. But nah, you can do that because Future does it all the time. He brings the pain side of the game, right? And some white people will like that, cool. But far as it being a part of pop culture, nah. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like, so I gotta push back on that. And Kendrick put it in a good, that Kendrick Drake beef put hip hop in a good place because it wasn't supposed to be mainstream. I feel like the Billboard charts. That they're in any rap song that was ever on the Billboard charts was never from a real artist, or even if you ask the artist what their favorite songs is, it won't be the ones on the Billboard. That was just the hit single, right? Something they just kind of just made something for the club, made something for the radio real quick. It wasn't like their true raw emotions, right? So that's why I had pushed back on that, and that brings me up to my second point: is that this year there was no hip hop rap songs in the top 40 on the Billboard charts, right? People are saying that like that's a bad thing or hip hop is dead because it is. Nah, I feel like it's elevating because it's not, it was never meant for everybody to get and understand. If you're on the Billboard, first of all, any mainstream like judging of any art form is going to be off anyway because they have to just, it's too much politics involved. You can look at it in any area or any field. Whoever wins that award sometimes is not always right. It's a popularity contest. If you're into sports, NBA and MVPs and stuff like that. A lot of times, it's a lot of pushback for some of the people that they pick for like All Star selections, Pro Bowl selections for the NFL, fighter of the year. If you watch like boxing and stuff, sometimes a lot of people disagree with it that are purists of that art, and they feel like, nah, this guy should have won. But it was a popularity contest that year. It was a lot of politics involved. Or maybe one guy, said something in an interview that he, shouldn't have said, right? So anytime I never look at the Grammys or the Billboard charts to see who made the best music because I know it's just a board of people trying to make everybody happy, and that's not true and fair criticism of art. You have to dive deep into it, and plus they don't even understand the nuances of hip hop, right? Um, an example of that, people, outside of the culture trying to, make rules or, certain like legislation on certain things, right? Uh, Carnival, the cruise line, right? And this is true. They did have, some, fights and altercations when, certain music was played, but they through reports and people kind of just spreading rumors or saying that they're going to stop playing hip hop music. And my first thought was, you can't group all hip hop music in one basket. I don't know what songs specifically they were playing around the time fights and stuff would occur, but you could just play another subgenre of hip hop. You can play Missy Elliott instead of NBA YoungBoy. That's still, what I'm saying, and some people might not even consider a lot of drill and some forms of trap music because there's even different types of trap music to me in my book, right? You don't have to play the drill. You don't have to, you can just play just like the radio 90s Biggie Cool Player type hip hop music. So that's just even goes to like when people when they look at you know all of hip hop music, they kind of just blanket it in one genre, but it's too complex it's too complex of a culture. That's what hip hop really is. It's a culture, right? You have rich guys that rap. They're gonna have one, type of image that they want to portray. You got street guys that rap. You got guys that just make kill music. Let's be honest, and they have an image that they want to portray. So it's too. And then you have like the backpack rappers. You got the super lyrical guys that try to hit you with the boom boom. Then you have guys that just want to be kind of nerdy, like MF Doom. Um, it's just too many names. You got guys that just want to just rap fast and just make that, just try to just flex their flow, right? So it's too nuanced and too complex to just blanket it all together, and that's what the Billboard's been doing. And it's like now they don't know where to go. They don't know, and it's making everyone just go back to themselves. Because even after the last diss songs or whatever, Drake dropped that album with Party Next Door, and I liked it. That album, let me bring it up right now. You see me, I already got some songs starred, man. Like this was really really good. Drake, he made Drake get back R&B and soul. He made him get back into his real bag. Now don't get me wrong, Drake can rap, hands down. He can rap, but it was just getting weird when he was around all the trap rappers, and he came out with the fake muscles and all. It just got weird. He just was getting weird, right? Um, and he thought he was a part of that culture when that's not really him. So it's going back to my point is that next year in hip hop is going to be more underground because people are going to get back to their authentic selves to where it might not get as much mainstream play, but we're going to get, and I feel like it's kind of started this year, but like I said, it's going to peak. I think it's going to peak next year. People are going to just get back to their foundation. You know, they're going to really curate projects to the fullest extent next year because now it's trending more towards the MC. The MC is going to get back to the MC. And just being yourself. That's what I'm just looking at my notes right now. Um, and if it does get back to or not to get on the billboard, I feel like now it's not going to be as big as of a flex anymore because people want that regional sound. If you're from the South, they want to hear that South sound. Or even if you are from the South but don't have the sound, that better be like who you really are. You know what I'm saying? It, People want the truth now. Kendrick exposed a lot of the industry, not just Drake. It was the industry, the entire industry, and people want the real. Let me go back to Twitter. People want the real. They want the real now. The charts and media want the masses to think that hip hop is fading out. It's returning to its essence. Yes, like I said, the foundation, the underground, and veterans are resetting the standards for the culture, right? And I think it's a beautiful thing, right? I want to, and that's how I fell in love with hip hop because I can listen to a West Coast rapper and see kind of the things that they saw growing up in the streets and in the culture of that side of the country that I never been to before, you know. And then when you travel out to these places, I'll never forget when I went to LA for the first time. I was like, damn, like Good Kid, Mad City kind of does feel like fucking LA, right? Schoolboy Q, like I'm hearing niggas talk like him, you know. Um, and then you still got the other side of the same thing, like Ab Soul, very super, lyrical guy, long hair, hippie kind of, swagger. You see it. When I go to New York and I throw on my Joey Badass, my Dave East, walking through Harlem, listening to the Dave East, like, oh shit, like this is, I feel it even more, when I'm actually there because it sounds like where it's coming from. You know what I'm saying? And that's another, nuance and another level to the art that's just beautiful, right? And it's going to get back to that. I ain't gotta say I hope it's going to because the game is now like it's like even more right now. No region has the crown, and I don't think no one's gonna grab it because it's just gonna be the artist. It's not even gonna be a region. It's not gonna be a certain. It's gonna be who has the best project. Who has the best bars? Who has the best like singing vocals on the hook? Who has the best? Is getting back to the purity of it. You know what I mean? Let's see what else I wanted. Okay, so yeah, so again, my guy, that boy Vic, Twitter name, master student, he's always ahead of the curve too. He said, since Drake has not helped the chitlin circuit, trap rappers, mumble rappers, drill rappers, people have noticed a shift in the industry. Exactly. That's why people felt that Drake was getting weird some years ago because it's like, why are you around all these guys for? This is not even your style of music, right? And now since he took a big hit, he doesn't have as much influence anymore, right? That's why people were saying the 21 Savage album wasn't good, which I don't know why you would think that. He went back to his foundation, that horror, dark, gritty trap rap. which isn't mainstream. See what I'm saying? The Migos, it was not supposed to be that mainstream. That was some southern, trap rapper stuff that only people in the South understand. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't supposed to be that big and like global, but Drake being like the kind of like the cash cow, light skinned dude, easy on the, what I'm saying? He kind of introduced that to the mainstream America. Like, oh, this is what's going on here. It's okay. I'm with them. But now his influence is kind of being dinged because he's not seen as a oh shit, was my collar messed up the whole time? God damn. He's not seen as a genuine guy anymore, right? So a lot of his cosigns and stuff don't have as much, it don't mean as much. So let me go ahead and play this clip right here.
Hearing a lot of the music that we really came in on because it was flooded with a lot of the newer generation of how they go. You know what I mean? It might just might get me on or something. Like it might be, because listen, man, how they say that shit, what goes around comes around, and it might be coming back around. Hearing a
It
lot of
is.
the
It is.
music
It
that we
is. It's
really
gonna come back around. All right, yeah, Drake was keeping the lesser lyrical rap alive because he thought it was good for business and it sold well to the youth. Now people are going back to the lyrical rap. It seems this was said in August. It was said in August, and I feel it. I don't even know who this is, but I just saw it and just had to save it. If you can actually rap, right now is the time to do it. Bars making a heavy comeback. The BS dying out slowly. I mean, it ain't too much else to say. It's going. It's like I said. It's the trends. It's the trends for sure. It's the trends. It is the trends. I had another little. So like, and then of course, people are saying that for the Grammys, it's a big possibility that the Clips album could win um the hip hop album of the year for the Grammys. I think they got nominated. I think they got nominated. Let's see the nomination. So this year we got Kendrick, yep, Clips, Dochi, Tyler the Creator, with the categories best rap. Let's go to the official. Let's go to official. Let's go to the official. We gotta make this official, right? Let's see. Do they do it by category though? I ain't trying to read through all this. Okay, record of the year. You got some hip hop in there. You got some Doechii, which I really don't think Doechii really raps for real, for real. Like for an entire project. Um, album of the year. Okay, and this is not even hip hop album of the year. They're saying album of the year in general, and you got Clips. You know what I'm saying? See, this is how you know it's trending towards more traditional lyrical rap. If I never would have thought the Clips album would have been on the general album of the year, because that's not as easy to push mainstream. Tyler Creator is easy to push mainstream, and that's not a knock on him. It's just, what I'm saying, you can't be pushing rough street guys all the time onto mainstream America. It just doesn't work like that. But because it is the most popular genre in the world, and like I said, the trends, and we push the trends, whatever we are on, the world is on. And right now it seems like we're going back to the foundational pieces of what makes hip hop, which is the pen, production, making a full project. Does it flow well? Do you have different flows in throughout your album? Or are you storytelling? Did you convey your story well? All the things, and then the album cover art. Does your album cover sound like your album? Did you promote it well? Right? Do you have good futures that fit? You know what I'm saying? That's what makes, a true project. You know what I'm saying? How long did you spend some time on it? People are working, I promise you, whoever's gonna win the album of the year next year, or gonna make a big, splash in the indie hip hop world next year, they're working on that project right now. I promise you. I promise you. I don't know what all this is, but y'all get the point. Y'all get the point. Y'all get the point. Um, okay, best rap album. Let's see all the nominations for the best rap album. Okay, got JID, Tyler, Glorilla, Clips, GNX. Okay, not a bad list. Okay, I got Glow, regional. She sounds like she's from Memphis, hands down. She is Memphis. This is a Memphis album for sure. JID doesn't sound like typical Atlanta all the way through, but at the same time, he's being authentic. He's being authentic. He's been rapping like that for years, right? When he first signed to Dreamville. Clips, we already know Clips, you know what I'm saying? Authentic, coke rap. Been doing it for years. Kendrick, this is the first time he went, the more of the hit the hit single route for an attire, but he kept it regional. And he was spitting on a lot of these songs, you know what I'm saying? And then Tyler, Tyler, man, he been pure to the game. He been the oddball forever, and I'm glad he's still at the top of his game. But it's just staying yourself and being authentic. People got tired of all the nonsense, and I'm not saying trap music is nonsense. It is not, because you see here, this is still, that's a pretty good, project. It's not in my everyday playlist, but I ain't mad if I'm at a party or something. You throwing some glow. I ain't mad at all. Uh, because she's authentic. She's authentic, and then that's what the game's been missing the last couple of years. I might even say 10 years, to be real. Um, yeah, and I think if the Kendrick, like, all right, so let's say if the if the Drake Kendrick thing went the opposite way and it kind of stayed how it was, I don't think the Clips album is up here. It's too hip hop. If the trend wasn't going the other direction, I don't think this will be up here at all. But yeah, I'm excited, man. It's gonna be a good. I feel like this was a good year of music through and through. I still got some tapes I haven't heard yet. Y'all give me some recommendations for indie artists, 'cause I want to push artists. This is one of the reasons I got back into making videos and being, this is probably the most consistent I've been posting, because I kind of don't even like the internet that much. I just kind of look, see what's going on, and I'm kind of off. But it's gonna be a fun year next year. I can't wait till the real summer hits start to roll out. Um, um, but it's still, at the same time though, it's still like levels. So if the artist you listen to was already being themselves and they just weren't like getting the viewership, I feel like those other people are gonna take that next leap. You know what I'm saying? If like or even J. Cole. Now if J. Cole drop a tape next year, boy, well, what? If Cole drop a tape next year, the internet's gonna explode, because Kendrick set off everything, right? Everybody from the blog era, or that kind of big three, the Big Sean and Wale, Drake, they all dropped something kind of back to back to back. It seemed like over the last year and a half or so, right? Um, Cole, when last time he dropped? I got no, it's been 2 years, right? Yeah, so I think he's on schedule. He should be dropping what the name of the album? The name of that album he was talking about, the Fall Off. The Fall Off. He said the Fall Off was gonna be his next album, and he's possibly his last album. So yeah, uh, we are due. J. Cole's going to drop next year, and I think that's going to be like the icing on the cake. Kendrick kind of started it, And if Cole drop an album next year, it's gonna get dangerous out here for all these other rappers, man. It's gonna get dangerous. I'm telling you. Um, but yeah, I want to I want to hear Lil Uzi rap like a Philly rapper. I want to hear Lil Uzi rap like a Philly rapper, and I honestly don't even know what that is. Honestly, I don't know too many Philly rappers. Meek, he's a street guy, but I want to see it if Uzi, if he can take it that route and be authentic. I don't know his backstory for real like that, but I want to hear Uzi rap like a Philly rapper. Um, the game has been reset. The hip hop game has been reset, and the crown's up for grabs. The Midwest, I don't think they have as much of a influence anymore. Since they had a bunch of cases and stuff going on, as well. Yeah, the South, what's going on with YSL, Young Thug, and all that. Uh, maybe they would have grabbed it if that all that didn't or kept it. Honestly, kept it. New York ain't had it in years. West Coast ain't had it like definitively in years. So the crown for the regions up for grabs, and I don't see it ever. At least the next year, I don't see any region grabbing a crown. It's going to be more for individuals to race for the crown. Some might say Kendrick got it, but I think he just knocked it off Atlanta's head. He knocked it off the mainstream because Drake was in part of the Atlanta, you know, holding on the crown. So he didn't really take it because he's already done his part for as making making projects, right? He just knocked it off. He just exposed it like, nah, you shouldn't have it, and it's just rolling down the hill right now, and everybody just trying to run after it. That's how I see it. The indie artists, you know what I'm saying. I'm going to be, it's going to take every angle of hip hop. It's not going to be just your streams. It's going to be your concerts too. It's going to be your merch. What New York rapper can make niggas out west buy their shirts? What niggas from the south can make Midwest niggas buy their shirts or come to their shows when they travel or they come down here? You know what I'm saying? That's gonna be what's gonna take the game to the next level. So I don't care what nobody's saying about the billboard or what Young Thug saying he wants it to be pop. Nah, man, because it's not gonna be as much competition. Like he said, they got comfortable when it was pop. Now it's bringing hunger back. It's going to bring hunger back. It's going to bring it to every region, and the individuals in those regions are going to be trying to claw for that crown. And I'm excited for it. I'm excited for it. So that's all I got for today. Um, if you have some rebuttals, we can debate for sure on what's the state of hip hop and what's going on, or even I want to learn even more about it myself because I follow it, but not as extensively as others might be, or just might not be as experienced far as the whole landscape as others. So I'm always down to learn, uh, or down to you know uh listen to other artists outside of the South as well. So send some recommendations for me to listen to. Then I even review them. I even review your album. I'm gonna tell the truth, so don't get mad at me. But um, yeah, I'm excited for 2026 in hip hop and what it's gonna bring because it's gonna be a good summer. I hope it's gonna be a good summer. It's gonna be a good summer. I'm gonna listen to a little bit of everything. But yeah, go ahead, subscribe to me. Make sure you follow me on my other uh applications as well, other platforms, Instagram, Twitter should be in the description. And also, if you just want to support the channel, my Cash App is in the description as well. Any money sent there will be used strictly for upgrades to the production of the channel. Building like a slight studio in my apartment now. Um, so this is what I, I'm working with now. Probably can get a way better green screen that don't fuck up my shirts. So whatever, if you just feel it in your heart to the, to send a little something, that's what it'll be used for sure. New mics, cameras, typical things that a content creator would need and use. Uh, all will be appreciated. But that's all I got. Jeremiah is out.